Okay, guys, so I am joined right now with an English-Italian singer-songwriter who has released 4 studio albums, written songs with Sam Dixon, who is Sia and Adele's songwriters, and whose early inspiration was the film The Graduate. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honour, absolute honour, to introduce you to Jack Savoretti. It's a pleasure to have you on YMCA Digital.
Thank you very much for having me. Okay. Man. Thanks for having me.
And as well, congratulations on Written in Scars as well.
Thank you.
Riding high in the midweek charts as well. Thanks. Okay. As in, I want us to talk just a little bit about more of your early life. As in, what age did you discover that music was what you really, truly wanted to do?
I think I was about 15 when I started understanding that music could be something else other than fun and background noise. And it was something that I always associated with parties and dancing, and I never really paid much attention to the lyrical content of songs. And then when I think it was on my 16th birthday or my 15th birthday, my dad gave me a cassette, and on it there was some Dylan and Joan Baez and Chris Christopherson and Johnny Cash and Simon and Garfunkel. And I remember hearing, especially Simon and Garfunkel, and thinking, wow, I didn't know this could happen when you listen to music. And there was something quite simple in their songs. They were almost like nursery rhymes, and yet nursery rhymes for grown-ups, for adults. And I loved it, and I thought, I want to try this. And then the more I indulged into trying to figure out the culture behind these guys, I fell in love also with the lifestyle and the whole movement of New York City in the 60s and California in the 60s, and everything that came with what the sort of songwriter represented. And that's what really got me into it at first. Yeah.
As in, like you just said, you're influenced by the music of Simon and Garfunkel from the film, and as well as the film The Graduate.
Yeah.
As in, and as well, I hear that on leaving California to study film, something didn't go to plan, and you had a traumatic flight that ended up landing in I forgot what it's called.
In Montreux. Yeah. I had a bizarre experience where I was, fortunate to some degree, and unfortunate. I was flying on 9/11. The famous day.
Oh my God.
And I was flying from Zurich to LA. Yeah. And they told us about the incident up on the plane, and they told us that the Pentagon had been hit on one side and the Twin Towers were no longer. And,
oh my God.
And then I ended up finding my way back to Switzerland. 15 hours later, I landed half an hour away from where I took off. But then I ended up going to California anyway, so I wanted to be in America after 9/11 because I was fascinated by what had just happened. It was the first time for myself, and I think most of our generation, to have ever experienced conflict of that manner on our shores, because we were untouchable. We were the untouchable generation where there was always a war going on, but it never had anything to do with us. Suddenly it was kind of like, okay, maybe he does have something to do with us. And so I was fascinated. Yeah,
and as well, how difficult was it to get from to where you actually are now, touring, performing at the Rescue Rooms in Nottingham?
I don't know if difficult is the word. We've had to be pretty persistent. There's a lot of people that don't want it to happen. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of other musicians. There's a lot of competition from other forms too. It's not like musicians are competitive towards each other, because musicians need each other.
Yeah.
But the industry only has so much space, and there's only so much audience that you can sort of play to. And there's a lot of big machines out there that are, really sucking up the hard-earned money of people working, promoting their artists. So by the time it comes to the small guy, nobody has any money to go and watch them or to buy their music. So I don't know, it's a tough thing, but luckily I think persistence, hard work, and just believing in what we're doing and surrounding ourselves with people that believe in what we do has definitely paid off.
Yeah. And as well, when you were a teenager, I know you were heavily into poetry, and I wanted to ask, I can probably guess what the answer is going to be to this, but how did your poetry actually influence your music?
I think it influenced the type of music I chose to listen to more than my music. Because of that, I always searched for songs with poetry in it. Yeah. And I loved writers that were able to paint pictures with lyrics rather than not just music, because I don't want to undermine, on the contrary, but I like when a song musically as well as lyrically captures a moment. And to me, the lyrical content is as moving as the musical content.
Yeah, can you actually remember some of the poems that you've actually written?
No, off the top of my head, no. I don't know if I'd even call them. They were poems, but basically put it this way. I became a singer-songwriter because I wanted to be a writer, but I wasn't very good at being a writer.
Yeah.
Then I wanted to be a musician, and I wasn't very good at being a musician. Combining the two forms, 50-50, I kind of was able to express myself. A little bit of writing and a little bit of music allowed me to say everything I needed to say.
Yeah. Yeah. And as well, I need to ask, like, what got you the big break that you've actually been dreaming of?
I think I've been lucky. I don't think I ever got the big break. And I think that's kind of been my fortune, because I know, don't get me wrong, it's great to get a break every now and then. But I've never had a big break. I've had lots of breaks, and I'm very grateful for those, but I've never had a big break. And I think that's why I'm still here. That's why I can still do this, because I don't know how healthy that kind of pressure is of a big break. I also don't know how much substance there is in a big break.
Yeah.
It's quite hard to live up to something if people only know you for something great. It's quite hard to keep delivering greatness. Some people can do it, don't get me wrong, but in general, most of them disappear into no man's land. And I've seen that. I've seen people really struggle just personally because of it. It's a lot of pressure. You know, if your first single and your first album does really, really well, it's when you're at the top of the mountain, you got nowhere else to go. And I think that's kind of a blessing and a curse for some people. So I don't think I ever had a big break, and that's been my blessing, I think.
Okay. And so obviously now I want to go back in time to 2007 when you released your first album, Between the Minds. Like, what inspired the tracks on this album? Because this was your debut album. What did you want from it?
I wanted to be a songwriter. I wanted to try and show people that I could write songs, and I kind of dug deep in definitely personal experiences, but also a lot of stories that I thought made good stories, things that I had heard, stories I like to write about. So it was kind of a patchwork of tunes more than I was in a certain place in my life and I had to write these songs. It was more of a showcase. I wanted to show myself that I could write any type of song.
Yeah.
That I didn't just know how to write one type of song, that I could write many types. And that's kind of what I tried to do on that album.
Yeah, okay. And one of the first things, I actually heard Dreamers for the first time a few weeks ago. Fantastic track. And when I played it to my friend, because my friend really loves you as well, yeah, she said you sounded a lot like Neil Diamond.
Oh.
Yeah, and Neil Diamond is like he's really good. Like, has that ever been said to you before?
Yeah, I got a Neil Diamond. I've had bizarre comparisons. So, and some of them are. I try to ignore them because I mean I understand if you're explaining what is the color green, you have to say well it looks like an apple. So I do understand that comparisons are necessary, but I also know that green has nothing to do with apple. If you know what I mean. Although it's a reference. There's a lot more to it. Yeah. So, and there's a lot more to an apple than just green, and there's a lot to green than just an apple. Yeah. So I think it's kind of, that's all I see it as. It's like it's a nice comparison. Okay.
So now I want to go into your debut single, which was called Without.
Yeah.
Okay. So out of all of the songs that you had on that album, why Without?
I don't know. At the time, that was a record label's decision. That was more their decision than mine.
Yeah.
That's changed now. Now I have a lot more to do with the decision I made, but at the time, that wasn't really my call. I loved every song on that album, so I didn't really have a problem with anything. Choosing. I sort of let the people at Power do what they had to do.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're actually going to do is we're going to play that track for you right now. Could you introduce it for us?
Are you going to be playing Without?
We're going to be playing Without.
All right. My name is Jack Savoretti, and this was my first ever single many years ago called Without.
Okay, so that was Without by Jack Savoretti, who I'm actually joined with right now. Hello again.
Hello.
Okay, I'm aware we are a bit under pressure, like for time, so I'm going to try and get straight on with this. So first of all, how's the tour going?
Great. Couldn't be better. It's exciting. It's always nice playing new music, so we're excited.
Yeah, and as well, like, and obviously this is one thing I want to talk about. I read the other day that like you were always like going country to country to country, like. That must have been really hard for you.
No, I mean, I love traveling. I think that's definitely one of the perks of the job. I hate being away from my family, but I love coming home to them as well.
Yeah.
And travel makes you appreciate that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And as well, I heard, like, from your childhood that I heard all about it, and it's fascinating. Your mum was a model, your dad was an actor, and your grandparents survived the Holocaust as well, which has got to be admired, and they sound like amazing, inspirational people. And what I want to ask from you is, can you actually remember any of these experiences, and have they actually inspired you to write some of your music?
I think my family has had everything to do with everything I believe in, all of my principles, and maybe even lack of principles sometimes is all down to them. We are parents' children. And I've been very grateful more than anything just for the support that they've always given.
Yeah.
More than their history, their present is more valuable to me than their history. And at the present, they've always been very much there for me and very much supportive of everything I do.
Yeah. Okay, so now I want to go talk to you about your second album called Harder Than Easy, which was released 2 years after Behind the Minds, which was 2009. Tell us about the process with that album.
It was made in about 5 days in a studio in Santa Monica.
5 days?
Yeah, it was made very quickly. It
Wow.
wasn't supposed to be an album, it was supposed to be an EP. And then it turned into an album overnight.
Oh, wow.
And then it was supposed to be released, and then it didn't get released, and then it was a bit of a nightmare. It was a real change for me, career-wise, because it made me realize I needed to do things differently.
Yeah. Okay. But I also want to talk to you just about Map of the World, was being your first single from this album.
Yeah.
Why did you choose that single?
I didn't really have anything again to do with that. I mean, the process behind choosing singles is based on so many people having an opinion on what radio will play, what they won't play, and if you want to do it through radio. So it's usually always the same reason.
Okay. Yeah, so can you introduce that track for us, because we're about to play it for you now?
Yep, this is Jack Savoretti and my song Map of the World.
Okay guys, so that was Map of the World by Jack Savoretti, who I am still joined by. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so we were just talking about your second album, Harder Than Easy. And I can tell, from what you've been talking about, I think that was the time it properly changed everything for you, I think. And, because I think you had it with the industry at that point as well. But to the point where you were actually asked to change your name to something a little bit more musical. And how did the actual turnaround happen? How did it actually happen? How did the turnaround happen?
It took 2 years to get out and to rebuild the whole team from scratch of everybody who was going to take this journey with me. And then that album actually became about me looking towards the future and sort of finding out how I was going to do this.
Yeah. As in, are you actually happier with the industry now because of this?
Much happier, because the industry doesn't need me and I don't need the industry, but together we can do some pretty cool things.
Yeah. And a question for you now, would you say you're more true to yourself because of this experience that you've had?
I think those around me are more true to me. And they represent me and they believe in everything we do, and nobody's on this ship unless they want to be there. Yeah. Nobody's doing this for a big paycheck. So either you want to be there because you want to be on this ride, or get off. And that's why it's great, because everybody on board really wants to be there. And when you've got everybody on board wanting to be there, things get done a lot better, a lot easier, and everybody has a good time doing it.
Yeah. And as well, you are married and you've got a little girl as well. You're also expecting a little boy as well in March, am I correct?
Yep.
Yeah. And so how does your little girl cope with daddy being a big star, and how does she cope with that?
I think she wish I was at home more. I wish I was at home more. But I think she also is fascinated by it. She's a confident kid, and I hope that she's going to have a better life for her.
Yeah. And how do you actually cope with the time apart, away from your children and your family?
Not well. It's something that takes a while, but I'm lucky. This is a good job. I do go home. I know people that see their kids a lot less than I do, and they hate what they do, and they don't make money. So, if you got to make money somehow. You got to put a roof over your kid's head, and this is the only thing I know how to do. So this is what I have to do.
Yeah. And okay, so now I want to talk about your third studio album called Before the Storm. This was released in 2012, and I think this was after you rebuilding yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, and what did you want this album to be about, and how did this album differ from the previous albums that you found from your previous albums?
Well, this was the first album I did genuinely on my own, with people supporting me and helping me that I had chosen. I had built the team, I had decided it, so there was a lot riding on it. I was working with a label called Fulfill at the time, who were great and gave me all the support I needed, and I'm forever grateful to them. They took it as far as they could take it, but they were always really supportive in everything I needed. And yeah, so it was just another learning curve. Every album is a learning curve. It's a new experience.
Yeah, and as well, I want to talk about one of my personal favourite songs of yours called Take Me Home.
Cool.
Love it, absolutely love it. Like, what made you want to write that?
I think I got very used to asking people to take me home. Yeah, we shot a great video for that actually. That was a really fun, difficult experience. Because it was all done on a handheld Steadicam. We sort of shot it over the space of 9 hours, just me and one other guy. I had a camera attached to my body and sort of went through Piccadilly Circus in London and wanted to show that kind of good, bad and ugly side of having a great night out.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And anyway, so we're actually going to play that track for you, on the station right now, so would you like to introduce it for us?
Yep, I'm Jack Savoretti and this is my song Take Me Home.
Okay, so that was Jack Savoretti with Take Me Home, taken from his third studio album.
Yeah.
And I'm actually currently talking to him right now. Hello again.
Hello again.
Yeah, okay, and so I was actually going to ask this earlier on. It was a question while I was thinking about, like, on the bus over here, and it's a question that it's possibly one of the most difficult questions I'm going to ask you, but what does music mean to you?
Many things. For me, it's a necessity more than anything.
Yes.
I get very frustrated without music. Not necessarily playing it, but I need to have music all the time. Yeah. I don't know exactly why. I might not be very comfortable with silence, so music helps me avoid silence.
Yeah.
And I think what did they say? Silence takes you closer to God. And,
yeah.
I don't know how close I want to get right now, so I like to play the music very loud. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so what we've actually got is we have asked people on Twitter to ask you some questions. So all of the questions we're going to ask you now until a certain point are people from Twitter.
Cool.
Okay. So we have at Isabel Potter 2. She asked, what was the first album you ever bought?
The first album I ever bought was... It was actually an album by a guy called Ali Farka Tour and Rai Kuda. And I bought it because I thought the cover was really cool. It was two guys in this kind of hut with these sort of African guitars around them. And Ali Farka Tour also plays spoons. Amazing. Yeah. And I just bought this album and I'm really glad I judged the book by its cover because it's an amazing album.
Yeah. Okay, we also have at Kayla Rianne Line, who's one of my personal friends, and she also has Italian roots like you as well. Yeah. And she also says hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello, Kayla. Yeah, she asks, what is the weirdest thing a fan has ever done?
Oh man, the list is long. I don't know. I don't know if it's ever weird. I mean, to be honest, it's always just meeting a fan is weird. You know.
Yeah.
You never get used to the idea of. It's also the factor that fans know you and you don't know them. Well, they don't know you, they don't know me personally, but they know my music, so they have something to go on, and therefore they feel a connection already with you that you don't have because you don't know them personally. Yeah. So it can sometimes be a little bit off-putting, even for a fan. Mm-hmm. You know, they can be shocked that you don't know who they are. And yeah. It's a tough relationship, but it's something that. I wouldn't be here without any of them, so you're always grateful to them, but there's always a strange dynamic.
Okay. RXOXO_Kate asks, who is your favourite band or artist?
That's impossible to answer. I have so many. I think Paul Simon is a big starting point. Yeah. These days, the best last album I bought was a guy called Sturgill Simpson, an American guy who I think we're going to be hearing a lot about.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, bro. We also have Jai's Princess XXX, who asks, what is the weirdest prank call you have ever made?
I actually used to make a lot of prank calls when I was a kid. Me and my friends used to go to the Yellow Pages. And it's pretty harsh. We used to ask we used to ask to talk to the man of the house and say that we were his lover. And we used to do that when women would pick up the phone to freak them out so that they thought their husbands were having affairs. I don't know why we did this. I mean, I must have been about 10 or 11. But we used to put on these like girly voices and we used to wet ourselves laughing. I mean, God knows how many marriages we probably broke. I hope we didn't. I think they understood pretty quickly we were kids. But
Yeah,
we used to do a lot of prank calls.
yeah, cool. And finally, at Infatuated Niall asks, who inspires you?
Oh man, my family is the biggest source of inspiration I have. My family and traveling are the two things that I wouldn't write songs if it wasn't for those two things.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, well, now I actually want to talk about the album you have just released called Written in Scars. And based on the midweek chart, it's the most successful album that you have released to date, and congratulations
Thank
for
you
that.
very much, man.
Yeah, it's a fantastic album.
Thank you.
I was listening to it on the way down. It's brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah. How do you actually feel that this is the most successful album that you have ever released?
I feel proud. I feel proud for everybody involved in it because it belongs to a lot of people. I mean, I'm the guy with the face on the cover and the name, but it belongs to at least 30 people.
Yeah.
And so for all of those people that have helped me do this, I'm really happy. I'm happy for everybody. It shows that we're not all crazy. It's nice to look at the people you work with and say, you see, you're not crazy. I told you we're doing something cool here. And that's a nice feeling for everybody to sort of realize, okay, this is fun. This is good. This works.
Yeah. And what inspired you to write some of the tracks on this album?
These are all pretty personal. I mean, they're written in scars. They're written in my stories.
Yeah.
So it's all things I've either seen happen or feel happen.
Yeah.
And they come from there.
Okay. And what would you say is your favourite track on this album?
I can't answer that, man.
You can't answer it.
I mean, it depends in what context you mean. So they've all got such a different place.
Yeah.
It depends what mood you're in. But it's an album I'm really, really proud of. The last album you make is always your baby because it's the one you've just done.
Yeah.
Although in my head I'm already thinking about the next one, so it's a tough one to call.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the tracks, Nothing Except You, is a Bob Dylan cover.
Yeah.
Okay, you are a singer-songwriter, so you write all of your own material. So why did you cover this track?
Because this track kind of saved my life and it kind of made me realize a lot of things and it became a good friend to me and I like to take good friends with me everywhere I can. And that's why this song in particular made it there. It was something I really was quite adamant about getting this song on there. Because even though I didn't write it, I wish I had.
Yeah.
Because it says everything I've always wanted to say. And that's what this is about too.
Yeah. Okay, and as well, Bob Dylan, you are currently up against him on the album charts. When you actually recorded the track, when you were recording the album, how did you actually think that? And how does it actually feel to be up against possibly one of your idols?
I don't feel like I'm against anybody. I doubt Bob has any idea that I even exist. So I don't have sleepless nights over it. I mean, it's an honor to be, like you said, I actually hadn't thought about that. You're the first person to make me realize we actually might be in the charts with Bob Dylan. So that's pretty cool. It would be pretty cool. I think he'll get higher than me. I think he's got a few more fans than I have. Just a few. But, I mean, it's funny people be having these conversations. I've never spoken about charts. I've been doing this for 10 years, and it's the first time in my career I'm talking about charts. And as great as it is, it's incredibly distracting. It's incredibly confusing. So I try not to think about it too much, to be honest.
Yeah. And what I also want to talk about is, although people are only starting to get to know your name, as we've talked about through this interview, you've been around for quite a long time, and I hear that in the UK you've toured around Cafe Nero branches as well. How did that actually come about?
They asked me to play a few songs, and we ended up doing 64 Cafe Neros across the country. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was a tough tour, to say the least.
Yeah.
It was great.
Okay, so I want to talk about your latest single. What's your latest single again?
Home. This is my latest single, Home.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been great. We had made a great video for it.
Yeah.
It's all filmed in a football stadium in Italy, and it's great.
It's very good. But the one thing is, because you, like as a child, you went to go place to place to place, and you eventually settled down in Switzerland, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where would you say home is to you?
Well, that's what everybody asked me, and I couldn't answer it because I genuinely don't know. I think home is a feeling more than a place, and the last place I felt that was in this football stadium where I went for the first time when I was 5, and every time I walk into that stadium, I'm 5 years old. So it was the strongest. It's one of the places with the strongest feeling I have of that memory of childhood. So I thought, let's do it at the stadium.
Yeah. And as well, just before we came in, before we recorded this interview, and before you actually came here, you were recording a video.
Yeah. For the next single. Other Side of Love. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, talk to me a little bit more about The Other Side of Love. Like, what made you inspired to write that track?
We just wanted something that I always wanted to write a song on this album because this album touched on some personal stuff and some stories. I wanted to write a song about the other side of love. Yeah. The side of love that doesn't get talked about a lot, not the chocolates and roses, but the painful, the illegitimate, the illegal, and the dangerous side of love.
Yeah. Okay. And one more question for you, because I know we're running out of time. Where can you see yourself going in the future?
I don't know, man. I hope we can carry on doing this for as long as the fans keep listening to our music. It's not. That's the only thing I can look to is that the fans like the music we make, and we keep making it.
Well, thank you very, very much for.
Thank you for having me. Man.
Okay, we're actually going to play your brand new single, Home. Would you like to introduce it for us?
Absolutely. I'm Jack Savoretti, and this is my new single, Home.